What is up, guys and girls? Hurricane Liz here, and today I'm rocking a fro, so I apologize in advance. But today we're gonna look at my very first book that I jumped into, the Sudoku niche. And despite the fact that I can't even pronounce that, I'm not sure what language it's in, I was still able to do somewhat decent with this actual book. But today you're not only gonna learn my tips, my tricks, and what I did wrong on this book, but you'll see exactly how many copies it actually sold and whether or not I've decided to actually move forward in the niche. You see, one of the main things that I see a lot of people make mistakes with is deciding to move forward with a niche that they really have like no interest in whatsoever. So today we're gonna learn the good, the bad, and the ugly, and it's only gonna get uglier before it gets prettier, guys and girls. So hold on to your hats as we're just about to get started learning all that I learned about Sudoku. So let's go ahead and jump straight into my screen share. All right, so I'm live on my actual screen share, and what we're gonna notice really quick is this is for May. This book I started at the end of April, and truth be told, if we actually look at it, it is the last 30 days, it's less than 30 days that I've been on. I really didn't do much in April at all. I just recently started to do something like I threw up some PPC. So PPC, for the people that are complaining like their book doesn't sell, I highly recommend, the first thing I highly recommend is number one, do PPC. So no matter what niche you're in, you have to spend money if you're going to want to sell something. And I know there's a lot of people out there saying, well, you don't need to, like I sold X amount of books. Well, yeah, that could just be because number one, you've been doing this for a long time and you see holes in the marketplace, which is fantastic. Congratulations. But if you're brand new, again, Amazon is becoming very much a platform of pay to play. And that's just kind of how it's going to be going forward. So you got to spend some money to make some money. So I'm not saying do that on every single book, although I would test it, especially the ones that I'm particularly proud of and the ones that get sales. So number one, have a strategy. So I didn't really go into this actual book with the strategy, and it is in the Sudoku niche, which is extremely competitive. So I do highly recommend that you, number one, have a strategy, particularly a PPC strategy. So no more spray and pray, because that's only going to work if you really have a tremendous amount of knowledge. And even in the comments, I'm seeing people with a ton of experience still complaining that they are having trouble making sales. So again, pay to play is no longer going to be an option after a certain point. It's going to be mandatory. So you have to brush up your skills on PPC. So let's get into the second big lesson that I've actually learned going into a competitive niche is, despite the fact that there are a ton of keywords to go for, you really have to zone in and focus on the ones that you really think are truly generating sales. And now there are black hat ways to find this out. So when you are focused on a niche tremendously, then you can basically splurge and find out the exact keywords that people are getting sales from. So there's ways around that. But at first, we have to guess. So the best way to guess is from understanding how you come up in the algorithm. So let's talk about that here for a quick minute. And I'm in Amazon, and I am just searching the most broad word that I would imagine somebody would search for, which is Sudoku book. And that has over 7,000 results, which again, I want to remind you guys, what that basically means is if you attempt to go for this actual word, you're not going to be seen anywhere. It doesn't matter what kind of grace period you're on. If it's the first 10 days, nobody is going to see your shit. And the reason for that is the simple fact that there are 7,000 plus other people going for page one. And really, everyone knows that the only books that get sold are typically the books that are on page one, possibly page two. So if you're not on either one of those, you're screwed. So what you really have to focus on is niching down. So there's two ways of doing that. You can use this Amazon suggestion expander, which is what I recommend, to look for niches where you can niche down. So if I just start typing Sudoku on here, it's going to give me some actual example words. So the actual niche that I chose to go for, and I'll show you here some of my ranking results. I'm happy to say that for every single word that I'm actually going for, I am on anywhere from page 2 to page 16. So in my case, I'm going for a large print Sudoku book for adults. So when you look at this actual keyword, now it comes down to 2,000. And so we can keep going further for adults. And now that goes down to 1,000. So you really have to find a way to be able to be seen for keywords that are on or near under 1,000, right? And this one obviously has 1,000 results. So if you show yourself in that under 1,000, you will sell. So how does that work out? So the moral of the story is try to niche it down. Now, one other way I can teach you to try and learn how to niche it down is by using this tool from Viral Launch called Market Intelligence. It is a paid tool, and the tool that I'm going to be using within this is called the Keyword Research Tool. And I'm just going to go to search, and I'm going to go in and search large print Sudoku, right? And then hit search. It's going to go out, do its magic. It already has done its magic because I've previously requested this. And one interesting thing is when you request something it's never done, it's going to tell you to wait. So I'm going to go in here, and there's a couple different ways I can sort this data to get some hidden gems. And again, you can do this by digging even deeper in Amazon with the tactic that I showed you with Amazon Suggestion Expander. But what I'm going to do with the Sudoku puzzle books is there's a couple different ways I can sort these. So there's something called the priority score, and this is basically telling you what is the most valuable keyword in all of Sudoku, and whatever shows 1,000 or as high as 1,000, like something that's 990 is better than something that's 390. So obviously 1,000 a lot better than 390. So what that basically means is that Sudoku puzzle books get the most amount of sales as per what they are guessing. Again, remember, every keyword tool out there is just making a guess. And I can say this much: if you're using a piece of crap like Publisher Rocket, then good luck, because that kind of keyword tool is not really the greatest. But something like this will give you a lot more information. Now, another thing here that you want to pay close attention to is not the relevancy score, not the volume estimate, because again, it is only a guess. But what you want to see is something that they have here called search volume trends, so you can see something that's hot or not. And what you'll see is typically when you see something seasonal like Mother's Day gifts, you'll see this really hyped up. Sudoku large print is really hyped up, so that's a good sign for me, because in general, the large print niche I feel is a good niche to be in, because you have more boomers than ever getting online, and they're really the ones that would benefit from a book like this. And then you see something called an opportunity score. Now, I want you to pay close attention to what this says, because this is really important if you use this tool. But this here, on a scale of 0 to 1,000, rates a keyword's ranking potential based on its current priority and top performing listings. So what that means is the higher the opportunity score, the bigger the opportunity for you to get out there and get some traffic, because it means a lot less people are actually optimizing their listing for this particular keyword score. So if we actually sort this by the actual opportunity score and look for everything that's over 1,000 here, you're going to notice that there's a lot of these that show volume estimate under 200. And the reason that we need to pay attention to these are the actual terms with the highest likelihood that they have under 1,000 results. Remember, what results are is it's this little number right here. So this is just a way to cheat our way to getting keywords that might just work for us. So again, what I focused my listing on was largely a group of keywords that came from this particular actual part of the actual puzzle, which is a lot of low volume keywords, low competition keywords. However, they still generate volume searches and sales. And so that's pretty much what I did. So I do recommend doing that. Now, the third thing that I learned from actually generating all these sales is I made a huge mistake going into this. I saw a huge trend where adult books were really hot. And so I just assumed I would throw up an adult book, throw in some curse words, and then be able to just outperform people at PPC. And I made a huge mistake. So most of you all out there that have experience in the niche will know that you cannot put curse words and expect to run PPC with them. So that's a huge no-no. Do not put curse words and expect to run PPC. Make sure you have an external marketing solution that is going to help you rank, because if you don't, you're screwed. You solely have to sell with your marketing ability or your existing list. So don't jump into adult books that have cursing until you have a list and you can market other than PPC. Now, the other thing I can tell you about the Sudoku niche where I completely messed up is you don't want to fall into this trap where you see the bigger, the badder, the best. And that's basically what happens. If you look at Funster here, they have over 1,000 puzzles, and 1,000 puzzles, and it's 1015. You got one here with 200 and it's 629, 1,000, 1082. Well, one of the problems that I had with my book, and so I'm still surprised that it's selling extremely well, is I tried to do bigger, badder, and I ended up with the bigger, badder price. And basically what that means is I'm even a higher price than some of these other leading Sudoku books that have a huge amount of reviews. And the problem with that is that that puts less money in my pocket. So I'm making a lot less money per book. It's only a couple dollars compared to if I had just done a standard 100 puzzle book for $6.99. So in the Sudoku niche, you really have to have some sort of defining factor that makes you stand out. You can't just toss out any old book, or you're gonna have to market twice as hard. And that's pretty much what I got stuck doing on the particular book that I did, is I'm having to market twice as hard. And while it still put money in my pocket, and my ranking has ranged from about 15,000 all the way on up to 150,000, I still have been selling books every single day. However, I did have to make an initial investment compared to just having thrown a book and tried to spray and pray. So now I'm finally in the green. I'm making money every single day. However, it took a little bit longer than I actually expected, and that's why I don't recommend you do that. So stick to smaller books that have less pages so that you can make at least $2 per every sale. Now I'm stuck with a book that costs a lot, and so the conversion value is a lot less than had I actually gone with a smaller book. So stick to smaller books that you make a good amount of money. And so the last thing I wanted to share with you, and this is more a share as opposed to an actual lesson, but that is, make sure you do have a marketing plan in place to execute on your book. If I did not have a plan in place, then this book would be a dud, like my very first book, which I was caught with my pants down, right? There was no way I could run advertising. It had curse words in it, and I was basically flat out screwed. However, on this one, I could put together a plan. I could do some extra advertising, and based off of my results with this book, I'm not going to continue to advertise it. I'm going to just drop it and go on to the next one, because I don't really feel like the Sudoku niche is for me. It's just, at the end of the day, a bunch of numbers and a bunch of puzzles, and it's kind of boring for me in general. So I'm gonna leave it there, let it sit, let it sell, and see what happens. But I'm not gonna invest any more money in PPC advertising or anything like that. But you can see the actual organic rank that I was able to generate for all these words in this particular niche, which I find to be one of the most difficult niches to really stand out in. There's really no way to build a solid brand or to differentiate yourself other than really having an eye-popping cover. But at the end of the day, I really don't know the boomer demographic, and I don't know what they're looking for, and so it's something that just didn't interest me. So always sell things that match your personality and that you enjoy creating and putting together, because at the end of the day, you'll have a better result and you'll have higher sales because you truly know the demographic. To me, the boomer demographic is just totally unknown. And I particularly know my demographic. It is Sausage Fest 18 to 40 something. And hey, that's what I sell to, and that's what I particularly enjoy selling to as well. But you'll see the results that I actually had. The words are on the left-hand side. You can see they all have some pretty good search volume, and the organic rank that my actual book has all is right here on the right-hand side. So those are the lessons that I learned selling in the Sudoku niche. And again, I hope that some of these tips help you guys in case you're interested in trying to sell in the Sudoku niche. And if you have any questions or comments, post them below. I always personally answer them, and I will see you all in the next video.